Second definition of grammar is your grammar brain. So these are the formal rules taught to us in school. These are what we call prescribed rules. Prescribed or given to us by the grammar gods or some smart rule makers. This is the grammar that we'll learn in class. This is what we've learned in school. This is the grammar that has very right and wrong, black and white, very objective way of looking at the language. So there is no guessing. There's no instinct that's needed. I don't have to worry about what my grammar gut feels like. Oh, my grammar gut doesn't feel that's right or wrong. And the thing is, this is usually the reason that we take a grammar class is because we no longer want to guess. We no longer want to say, I think a comma goes there, or I think that's the right pronoun. We want to know for sure. And so, one way of looking at grammar is to say that there are formal rules that we all should play by, and there's definitely a right and there's definitely a wrong. Very clear distinction between them. And that is our grammar brain. So let's look at how our grammar brains wrangle in this linguistic chaos, because what grammar has done, or as we sort of progress through time of the need, is the words were sort of put onto pages and made into books, and everyone sort of was playing by different rules, and eventually we decided we need to make up some grammar rules and grammar textbooks and things that everyone plays by. We had a way of taking all this chaos and everyone's kind of coming up with their own ideas and saying, here, let's all restrict ourselves to these clean rules. We're all playing by the same clean rules. It wrangles in chaos. If I took a sentence like, the monkey with the cowboy hat rode the donkey through the streets, well, we can break that down because we were taught how to in school. We can probably break this down to a subject and a predicate half. Pretty easy. And we can even break this down further. Now, we'll get into this in class. But I imagine most of you, if I show you some of this terminology, you're like, yeah, I got that. I could say that monkey is the subject, that with the cowboy hat as a prepositional phrase, road's a verb, the donkey is an object, through the streets is another prep phrase. I can break this down once again because a lot of this is what we've been taught of the ways of looking at grammar or a sentence in terms of its structure. And the brilliance of the grammar brain is the grammar brain can do the same thing with gibberish, things that aren't even words. If I took a sentence like, the floofy loofster happily loof around the boon poof, complete gibberish. But your grammar brain is so sharp that it recognizes that languages have structures to them. That's why, though, when we learn grammar, you'll understand your foreign languages so much easier because you'll start seeing things in terms of structure. So we can look past the words, and if we can see the structure, we'll realize it's the same thing as sort of like looking at any kind of language. I can see there's a subject, the floofy loofster. My gut, no, sorry, not my gut. My brain tells me that there's this verb, happily loof, and then I can hear this prepositional phrase that kind of groups together around the boon poof. And I can even take this, despite the fact that it's gibberish, I can even parse this even further. I could say the floofy looster. Because of its structure, I know that floofy is the adjective and loofster is the noun. Happily loof. I know that happily is the adverb and loof is the verb. Around the boon poof, I can tell that boon is an adjective because it's right in front of the word poof. And so therefore I can kind of break this down in terms of what these individual structures are because of not the words, but because I can see it in terms of structure. And that's really critical. I'll say it again because it's so important. We're not looking at the word, we're simply looking at its structure. So therefore, I can take this sentence, and if I want to switch words around, I can switch it around and see how it changes. Let me show you what I mean. What if the sentence now was the floofy, happily loof and poof around the loofster boom? I'll see if I can bring my cursor up here to show you what I mean. My laser pointer. Before, floofy was an adjective, but now floofy is a noun. The word didn't change, but its structure did, because now it's sitting here all by himself. He must be the noun. And happily loof is still the same, but here's poof with it, which means it must be a part of that verb. So before it was a noun because of where it was sitting, but now because of where it's sitting, it's a verb. And around the boon poof is now around the Loofster boon. And the point here is boon used to be an adjective, but now it's a noun because it's where it's sitting. In Loofster, what used to be a noun is now an adjective because of where it's sitting. I don't ever want to get caught up in what the actual word is. Sometimes we see a word and are like, well, that has to be a verb or that has to be a noun because I know it. You're like, yeah, but look at what its structure is. And if you look at its structure, that'll tell you what you're looking at. The grammar brains are brilliant. So we'll find oftentimes the grammar gut and the grammar brain are arguing at times. I know my gut says I'm hurt, I need to go to hospital, makes no sense. But the structure of that sentence is telling my brain that it should be grammatically correct. Your gut's saying that doesn't make any sense. But your grammar brain says, go to hospital should make sense. To hospital is just a prep phrase. Why wouldn't it make sense? And so we'll find those two sort of battling each other. The grammar brain holds confidently onto the rules, and we call this prescriptive grammar to contrast descriptive grammar from the grammar gut. The rules have been prescribed to you. It's like a doctor giving you a prescription. You're not arguing, just take it. And so prescriptive grammar kind of says to the grammar brain, here are the rules. I don't care if you don't like the word whom. Here's where you use it. I don't care if you don't understand or you don't care for like you find the word or a semicolon to be confusing. Here's how you appropriately use it. They prescribe the rules, and therefore you can either be correct or you can choose to be incorrect. But there's no middle ground. And that is our grammar brain. It's sharp. And we're going to refine our grammar brains.